What up, y'all? Let's talk about it, man. True freshman mid-season All-American list via Charles Power of On3. A decent list to say the least. I'm going to talk about some corrections, some guys that will have on this list maybe over others, but let's break it all down. Let's start with quarterback Malik Washington, who I think is having a phenomenal season so far for Maryland. Again, he has been elite so far this year. 1,506 yards, 10 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, 61 QBR, and he has his team at 4-2 this year. Going to play against UCLA. Lost obviously a close one this past weekend, but a guy that has been doing his thing and has Maryland competitive. Has Maryland, I won't say going to win a Big Ten, but has them obviously playing more competitive football. A team you can see pull off some upsets if they're not taken obviously very seriously, and a team that's playing at a high level. All right, next you have Bo Jackson. Well, we have the next great Bo Jackson. Now he's having another good year as well, along with obviously Ohio State. Been kind of flying under the radar a little bit. Another guy, like I said, just continuing to get better. Obviously, his numbers haven't been guarded the last few days, facing steeper competition. But the first 2 games, I mean, bro, he was balling. 108 yards rushing, a touchdown, 109 yards rushing against Ohio. So, guy with 407 yards, 2 touchdowns. A guy you feel like that's going to get better and better as the season goes on, man. And only be a true freshman playing in this Ohio State offense, not easy to do. But he's been excelling with his snaps and his reps, and he's been obviously a great 1-2 punch out of that backfield. Now, Nate Shepard has also been a pleasant surprise, obviously, for the Duke Blue Devils, man. A guy they've been leaning on very heavily. Like, when you break down his stats and you look at it, 447 yards rushing this year, 4 touchdowns, averaging 8 yards per carry. A guy that Georgia Tech's going to have to take pretty seriously in their game upcoming this week against him, because that's what makes their offense so potent. They can throw the ball with Darian Mensah, and then they have Nate Shepard that can get the ball out of the backfield and run the ball. In back-to-back games, he has 2 touchdowns, right, against Syracuse. And then he lit up Syracuse on that road victory for them. Big one, I might add, 168 yards on 15 carries for 2 touchdowns. A guy that needs to be talked about more. Now, Vernon Brown III is not really all that surprise to me. The kid is special, man. You go look at his tape, what he's been able to do for the Florida Gators, the one-headed catch he had earlier in the season. He's been a dependable weapon in that Florida offense. And now, again, team that's not clicking on all cylinders, still trying to figure things out. But Vernon Brown III has been doing his thing. He's been special so far this season. I think another guy you will see on this list, probably before the end of the season, we will see if he stays healthy, Dallas Wilson. Another guy that was very high on. Because remember, Florida had several true freshmen in playing, obviously at a high level and coming into this 2025 class. So guys are going to contribute. So that's another guy you're probably going to hear a lot of moving forward. Vernon Brown III and also obviously Dallas Wilson. Now, DeCorian Moore is a dude too, man. I mean, he's been doing his thing. Unfortunately, didn't have the best game against Indiana. I think he only had 4 catches, 44 yards. But another guy that's been playing at a high level. And, he's been a dependable target. At one point, he was leading, obviously, Oregon, and I think he still is, in receiving yards this year. When he's gotten the ball in his hands, he's been potent, he's been attacking, he's been aggressive, and a guy that's tough to stop. Now, out of this total list, I'm going to probably have to give the nod to Malachi Toney. I think Malachi Toney has been the most impressive receiver so far this year. Respect to Vernon Brown III, respect to DeCorian Moore. But Malachi Toney coming in as a true freshman, playing for a team that had national championship aspirations in the Miami Hurricanes, and being a dependable target, obviously, for Carson Beck, and being somebody he leans on along with the CJ Daniels. That says a lot to be a true freshman and to be able to do that and play at such a high level. So he needs to be talked about definitely way more. I mean, he's one of the reasons why Miami is so good this year. Obviously, look at Carson Beck. You obviously look at Ruben Bain, Messendor. But without that emergence of that next receiver for him, I don't think Miami will be as good. Because remember, my early concerns for the Hurricanes was their receiving core. Right, and obviously Beck coming in and getting chemistry. I didn't know if it would be as good or as talented. I know about CJ Daniels, but everybody else, it's a question mark. They're young. You don't know who's going to be good, who's not. Malachi Toney has emerged as the best receiver, I think, amongst this freshman class. Deserves definitely more respect. Now, next up, before I get to the offensive lineman, I really want to mention Caleb Hawkins, true freshman out of North Texas. He's been balling for them as well, having a strong season. And here's the stats, obviously, right here. And remember, he's out of Oklahoma, and he ended up coming to Texas. 356 yards rushing this year, 7 touchdowns, and 6.2 yards per carry. Now, their chances of making, obviously, a CFP is probably low, but to have this as a true freshman to come in and contribute early and often, and it create that excitement, that buzz around that program, says a lot. And I think he's a guy that needs to be talked about more. I obviously have him as an athlete, but he's been balling out this year for, obviously, North Texas. Now, in terms of the offensive lineman, I like this list. I like Michael Carroll, a guy that came from IMG Academy. He's been playing at a high level. He's been rotating in, getting a lot of reps at the right tackle, and continuing to impress so far. As Caden Proctor said, who's obviously an All-American offensive lineman, will obviously be first-team SEC, I think. He said he's just a hungry kid. A guy that wants to be out there, a guy that wants to battle and compete. I think when you have that's half the battle. Him coming in early has been obviously magnificent. Now go look at that offensive line for Oklahoma. You look at Michael Fafusi or Michael Michael Fusi, a guy that's been contributing early and often, and he's looked also very good and stellar so far this season. A guy that needs to be talked about more, the guy that needs more attention, more praise. He's been really, really good this year, humbly in my opinion. But yeah, only thing I'm gonna disagree with, I think offensive line wise, a guy that should be on this list, I'm gonna go Juan Gaston to Georgia. Coming in as a true freshman, they've been banged up, they've been dealing with injuries, and he's been taking it on the chin, and he's been doing a pretty good job protecting the quarterback. When you look at Georgia and Gunnar Stockton and everything like that, has done a marvelous job, man. So that's a guy I think I would advocate to be on this list. Juan Gaston, formerly out of Westlake, 6'8", offensive lineman. I think he's been obviously playing at a high level as well this year. Should be on this list. And also John Mills, another guy from Washington, along with their quarterback. Being able to protect him and playing some meaningful minutes so far this year definitely should be talked about way more. All right, let's now move to the defense. Chaz Coleman has been a pleasant surprise for Penn State. I know they're going through what they're going through right now. Lost, obviously, the quarterback for the season, lost their head coach. Tough spot to be in, man. But Chaz Coleman has been efficient. He's been obviously continuing to get better and better, and is playing at a high level, man. So I like how he's been doing his thing this year. Now, Montreal this year has been obviously pretty good this year. For Florida State, 12 tackles, 2 sacks. I'm going to replace him on this list with a guy I think that's been playing at a high level as well. And he plays for Georgia Tech. Andre Fuller, 12 tackles so far this year, 7 solos, 5 assisted. A guy that's been creating pressure all year long. Has been obviously a great part of Georgia Tech in their defensive line. I'm going to put him on this list over Montreal this year. Again, that's just my personal preference. A guy I think in Andre Fuller that's playing at a very high level for them and is playing some very meaningful minutes for Yellow Jackets and Coach Kyle Pope. A guy I think that deserves to be on this list. Now, Maryland got 2 dogs in Zaire Mathis and obviously Sidney Stewart. When you look at Mathis and the season he's having, he don't even look like a freshman. 6'6", 220, 17 tackles, soloed so far this year. He has 23 total, 4.5 sacks. He's been practically unblockable. He's been one of the best defensive linemen all year long. Him and obviously Stewart have been a dynamic duo all year long, man. They deserve definitely more praise and more credit. But those two is one, like I said, one of the reasons why Maryland's good. Their true freshmen are playing at a high level. We got 3 true freshmen from Maryland on this list. So they did a great job recruiting and developing these guys to get them ready to play early and often and contribute to this team. Sidney Stewart is also a beast in his own right. They are a dynamic duo. Then you have Antoine DeSalers, another guy that's playing at a high level for them. 26 tackles so far this year. Again, Syracuse, a team that's still trying to trek forward. Figure it out defensively. Some games they've had bad, but to come in as a true freshman and play for Fran Brown and play at a high level definitely says a lot. Now, this guy right here, I like a lot. You go watch his tape. This kid is going to be special, and he plays with just a next level, just work ethic, next level motor. That makes him potent, man. Just had his best game against Georgia. 6 tackles, 5 solos, and he had a sack in that game. He's up to, obviously, 13 solos and 1 sack. He's been elite so far this year as well. And he's continuing as he gets more time, more minutes on the field. He is flourishing. Another guy I really like and definitely deserve to be on this list. All right, there you have it for that. And then let's go ahead to the DBs. Now, a couple guys I'm going to replace, to be honest with you. Brendan Finney's having a good year, right? He's having a good year. He's doing his thing. I think, though, DB-wise, I'm probably going to put Eric Winters on this list. What he's doing for Auburn and how explosive he's been this season. I know he's a true freshman, but he's been getting a lot of time, and he's playing at a very, very, very high level so far for Auburn. So I would probably replace him. That's just my personal preference, though. And then you got Bryce Fitzgerald. Bryce Fitzgerald has been playing at a high level, too, so far for Miami. And another reason why the Canes are good this year. Their young guys are stepping up big in big moments, right? We know about, obviously, Jacoby Thomas, but then you have Bryce Fitzgerald on the back end, too, who's playing, next level football. You feel pretty good if you're the Hurricane. All right, then next up, obviously, you have Grayson Littleton, true freshman, coming over, obviously formerly committed, I believe it was Clemson, but man, great get for Grace, great get for Texas and the Longhorns and what they're trying to do this season. He's been special. He's been playing at a high level. I really like his talent and what he's able to do on the gridiron. He's been special out of that slot position, getting better and better and getting more reps. Now, I would replace John Peters, Western Michigan, is doing his thing. I feel you. I'm going to replace him for a guy I think that's taking the next step forward right now at the right time in the midseason, Dejon Lee. Now, again, the stats aren't the best, currently is right now, but you go and watch him against that Missouri team, and you see the plays he was making, nearly 2 interceptions, had an interception, obviously, in the game, and the way he's reading defenses and obviously reading the offense, and reading what he's seeing, that kid is going to probably be one of the best cover corners come this time next year. I think he's that good. He's that special. Needs to be talked about more. And obviously, you like DJ Pickett along with a monster Delane. One reason why LSU is good. Their offensive struggle this season, but when you got 2 really good corners, you got 2 really good players on the back end, you feel good. Because Pickett going to get picked on a little bit, but 13 tackles this year, a couple passes defense. He's been playing at a high level. But I would replace, for me personally, I would put Eric Winters on this list over Finney. That's my personal opinion. And I will take off Peters. I'm going to put Dejon Lee. But comment down below, man, your thoughts on this midseason true freshman All-American list.